Hey, Allyson.
Good morning, Nadine.
Good morning. Good morning. So lovely to have you on the Everybody Can sessions. Let's get 2021. So, we were just talking about how we interlinked together, and we've done a lot of work together actually, mainly around the work of Shirley Thompson.
Yeah,
But we've been on the BBC, the Lenny Henry program we were on together, weren't we? This
that's right.
hidden histories of classical music.
Yeah,
What fun that was.
it was good fun. It
Yeah,
was. It was an experience in lockdown as well.
I
Yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And then we worked on my show in R&D, Beam,
Yes.
that research and development about my life and how opera and the many forms of music has
Yeah.
kind of worked within that. And you were so great on that project. We
Thank you.
really appreciated you being in the room with that,
Thank you.
and just finding a space for a new voice. I'm used to singing
Exactly.
everybody else's work.
And one little light just on you. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
It was good.
That is really kind of I don't know. I can't even get the words out. You see, there must be some prover attached to it. It's quite frightening to
Hmm.
expose yourself like that, but
It's an
very,
experience.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
and very rewarding.
Hmm.
Anyway, welcome everyone. We are at 9:01, and today we have the fabulous Allyson Devenish with us this morning. Hi, I'm Nadine Benjamin. I am what is known as a creative empowerment thought leader, and I use this, or I action this, by being a soprano, an international soprano, a certified high performance coach, and an accredited NLP mind coach. So accredited NLP is neuro, the brain, linguistic, how we speak to the brain, and programming, the many paradigms or habits that we use to set up in our daily life. I'm using this platform to really come into 2021, WON, let's get 2021, as a space to really champion, connect, and celebrate people. It's really, really important at this time that to remember, as well as it not being okay to be okay, it's also okay to be okay, and I'm realizing now that there has to be space for both of those things to be alive, So we are with Allyson. So wonderful to have you in this room today. Really, really wonderful. So tell us a bit about you, Allyson. What was your journey into music?
I come from a musical family. So I think if I didn't do anything musical, my mother probably would have sold me. Um, there are I think six at the moment, six professional musicians in my family. That's my brother, myself, and a number of cousins in Trinidad and one in Amsterdam. Music was in my house um, all the time. My mother was a piano teacher. She was a pianist. That wasn't her full-time job. But so there were always people going in and out of my house as a child. My brother and I played the piano from early ages, and we did all the things you're expected to do, exams and concerts and competitions, etc., etc. I think as I've gotten to this age, if somebody asks why I play the piano because I can. It's a little bit like breathing because it's just what I do.
Yeah.
Um, I also like it, but I mean, it is also what I do. And probably like most pianists, I thought I would have a glittering career as a solo pianist, and then sort of crashed and burned in my first master's recital, and I had to do it again. And also decided that I didn't like practicing alone for hours and hours a day. I rather liked being with people.
I love that you've said that. Thank you, Alison. Somebody really needed to hear that today, that honesty
Mm.
about crashing and burning in a recital. But what I really want everybody to hear is that you didn't just crash and burn and
Mm.
not do it again. You just said you crashed and burned and did it again. You stood for yourself. Really important.
I think, it's not so much, I don't want to use the term sort of failed, it happened, and which isn't discounting the feelings and emotions at the time, but I also, as I said, did it again. But in doing it again, as I said, I also decided that I didn't like doing this alone. I do like playing with people. Actually, I just like being with people and talking a lot. So I had done accompaniment in undergrad, and I was doing it here when I moved to London, and it moved into opera and doing some repetitouring, which I can say still frustrated me because nobody was paying any attention to me and there was nobody to talk to because they were all paying attention to the conductor, and that's just not on. So, I started doing music directing, music theatre, not because I made a decision, but because somebody asked me. As actually most of the stuff in my life, somebody asked me and I said, okay, why not? I'll give it a try. The music directing is great fun. Probably, as my brother could confirm, because I get to talk a lot and tell people what to do, which I think is probably my basic characteristic.
Yeah.
But I also I do a lot of new music theatre, and I love being at the point of creation with so many people. I think that is important to see how things grow and develop and become whatever it is they're going to become. And so that is how I sort of ended up where I am now, because of course it ain't over, and you just take a day at a time. So that's why I do what I do now. I do pretty much everything and anything. You can always ask me, because the worst case scenario is that I'll say no. Otherwise, I'll probably give it a go.
But what made you choose your career paths? I mean, I hear that you fell into music directing, and you're also you're a great recitalist. You recital not just here but all over the world. And you have this format of a teacher as well. Tell us a little bit about the recitalist and the teacher.
Well, it is actually genuinely true. If you ask me to do something, I'll probably do it. So if somebody asks me to play for something, I'll probably do it. I think as I've gotten older, I'm a little bit more discerning. But, if it's interesting music or somebody I'd just like to experience being with and sharing their gift, then I will probably do it. I mean, it sounds sort of flip. It's not flip. I really am, I would say probably the best positive word is curious. I just want to know what it's like. And I've been very lucky because it's taken me to a lot of very cool places and doing very cool things. But it's not I'm very much not the kind of person who goes, I think I want to do this, so I'm just going to clear everything out and start forge that path. It's not the opposite. I don't sort of wander around in a vague sort of state going, oh, I wonder what will happen.
No, you're definitely not vague.
Thank you. But if it presents itself to me, I can give a considered response, but the odds are I'll probably do it. If it is something that I think will fill me and add to what it is that I am interested in at that time, of course I'll do it. The teaching is because, it started out as a very practical thing. It's a good way to get some money and keep yourself going. But also, I teach mostly small children, and I like to see how their brains work, how they take in all this information, how it fills them, how it adds to their lives at sort of 8, 9, 10, 11, how they discover things about music, how they make the connections between math and music and sound and stories, etc., etc. I'm not teaching, the next Ashkenazis or pariahs or anything like that. But
unbeknownst to you, you never know.
Unbeknownst to me. But my job is done when I run into them at the age of 25 or 30 and they say, I still play the piano. Because it brings them joy. That's all I'm aiming for, really. I just want them to enjoy it and have a good time. Life's too short otherwise.
Absolutely. I loved what you said about, you had lots of music in your life when you were growing up, and you did all the piano exams, and you had to be, to be on show to do the recitals and all of that. What type of music did you have playing in your home at the time?
So if it was my mother, it was classical and sort of my parents are from Trinidad. They are of a generation that were terribly colonial. So there were lots of I grew up hearing a lot of sort of British folk songs for some reason. If it was my dad, it was jazz and calypso. There was also a weird routine where every Sunday morning we were sort of woken up by Brandenburg concertos. I'm with him. It was literally everything. It was everything. And I think also that is probably a testament to Trinidad, which is full of music and full of everything. Everything is down there. My mother could sing and play a variety of opera arias because she'd grown up hearing them because it was normal. Nothing was out of reach. So nothing was out of reach for us.
And I have to say, I have noticed that with a lot of Trinidadian artists, that, that classical music and all forms of music was just a normal thing for them.
Absolutely.
Kind of thought process that it couldn't be done. The British experience is very different, but I think that when I hear the Trinidadian experience, around music, around classical music especially, I think there was a portal there that was open for people to keep jumping through.
There was no concept that nothing that something was out of reach. It was all for you, and I think that has probably quietly informed. Not only what I do, but basically how I think. It's all accessible. It's somebody else's problem if they think it's not for me. I don't.
Say that again, please. Please say that again. Somebody needs to hear that.
Well, it is. It's I do what I want to do. It's somebody else putting up the barriers for me. It's all accessible to me and to everybody. So if somebody else has a problem with it, they have a problem with it. I don't.
Yes, I love that. Allyson, and I hear you say that, but it takes courage for some people to understand that as well and to action that thing of somebody else may have a barrier to something, or may have a problem with them, but but to understand that it's the other person's issue, it's not your own, and to not carry it.
Absolutely, I think it's I'm old enough. I'm very aware that it is easier as I get older to say such things with assurance. But I do know that was certainly something that was ingrained in me, which is that everything is accessible, everything is possible. Just do it and worry about it afterwards. If somebody else has an issue with you, they are the people who have the issue, not you.
Thank you. Which is lovely way for us to segue into your blog, The Enormity of Now, which is co-hosted by the wonderful soprano Gwyneth Ann Rand. It's really beautiful to see you two together in this collective, sharing these voices. Could you tell us, how did it come about?
Oh, well, at the beginning of the first lockdown last year, when I think everybody sort of felt that they were sideblinded by a large truck, we were constantly on the phone, just talking and sharing and a little bit of ranting and eye rolling and sighing and everything that goes. But we were in agreement. That was the thing that was quite funny. It wasn't like talking to somebody to, kind of bounce back ideas. We were just basically nodding to each other. And what we were talking about was the reaction of artists, performing artists, to what was very clearly the bottom dropping out of their lives immediately. It wasn't to say that we weren't shocked either. I lost about 6 gigs like that. But again, I think because of where I am and there's my situation and my home and my life and my family and so on, panic wasn't my first reaction. Bewilderment, yes, but not panic. I was curious about the seeming desperation of artists and the sort of craziness that, again, human reaction. Well, we've got to do something. It's all going to fall apart. My life is blah, blah, blah. And the question that kept coming up for me was, with this panic that's happening to you, why do you do what you do? What is it? I know why I do what I do. Mm-hmm. It never occurred to me that I would never play the piano again, because I got a piano in my house, so I will be playing it. I might not be playing in front of people, although I have my family at home, so I'll be playing in front of them and my cats. But I play, and I did play. I played for myself because that's what gave me peace. But it was the things of, I'll never sing again, I'll never play again, blah, blah, my life is over. I'm not discounting those feelings. They're immediate. They are human. But we wanted to know, so why do you do what you do? What do you get from this performing? Gwen and I had our answers. We knew how we thought. But we were curious about what other people thought. Curious is the nice word. Nosy is the actual word. We wanted to know how people were basically just going through this journey and maneuvering through this weird path, right? So we asked our friends. It was as simple as that. It's, what do you do and why do you do it? And how are you doing now you seemingly can't? What's going on for you? I think what is interesting is as we are now, I don't know, are we in our 3rd lockdown? God knows.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
How the perspective has changed, and what is very clear as we are now heading into our 1st anniversary is the resilience of people. And it's almost like as if you read through the blogs from the beginning to now, how there's just been a sort of acceptance. It tends to lead to resignation. I think an awareness and a readiness now to take on this new mantle of where we are and operate in a different way. And I think that it is important for and interesting and comforting for everybody to see everybody. We tend to keep these kinds of things private, and I'm very grateful that the people that we've spoken to have been incredibly open and honest. Because I think actually, as human beings, if somebody says, how are you doing? And they really mean it, it's kind of nice to tell them, So I like it. Also, as I said, we're incredibly nosy and we just like asking questions. So
what type of guests have you had on the block? I mean, I'm going to speak to just what you've just said there. It's that thing when you said that you woke up and you and Gwen were just having these conversations and you recognized that there was a unity between you around the thoughts and feelings and then making it bigger than yourselves. I really identify with that, with how I started the Safe at Home sessions, which are now Let's Get 21 sessions. But because I woke up just like you, not feeling this panic. Actually, I woke up feeling I need to serve. Like I've got all these other tools that make up Nadine Benjamin. What ways could I make these tools be of service to other people in the world? And I just immediately thought of mental health and my coaching background and my mind coaching background. I just thought I can do this. So and so I'm not going to be as affected. I'm just not. Like I've been practicing these tools for like the last 20 years. So actually, let's share them. And I think when you recognize that and then you make it bigger than yourself, it does become an act of service, which is an act of love. You know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I keep saying the word nosy, but it is genuine curiosity. As a human being, we reach out and ask other people questions, sometimes to confirm things for ourselves, sometimes to let others know we are available to help, sometimes to let others know we're in the same place, and off we go, or we'll just sit here. I have to say that, you know, I think when the first lockdown happened, my immediate thought was completely selfish, which is, I must take care of myself. I must take care of my family. And then if we're okay, then we can help others, or be there for others.
Right way round, always the right way round.
You know, if you are at a half measure, you're not really that much good to anybody else. Which is, I think, probably what helped, you know, a level of calm, certainly in those first few months. I think that talking to others, just I'd like to think that, as I said, in being able to talk reasonably freely about how they felt at that moment, it was a good thing and is a good thing. And as I said, it is interesting as you go from 2020 to now 2021, how people are just navigating all of this. It's very different because, hey, here's a surprise, we're all individuals. So it is very, very different. And always positive. That is what is extraordinary, is, as I said, the resilience of human beings, and finding a way that works for each and every one of them, that is so very different. You know?
And it's that thing, isn't it, that everybody is individual, but what we're really learning now is that how we co-create, co-construct, and come into our we. And that, I think, one of the things that I noticed, that people realized how much they were interdependent of others. You know,
absolutely. It's you know, and I like now that there is no shame, I say that in quotes, of reaching out and asking for a little bit of help.
Absolutely.
You know, be it just somebody getting your groceries, to you know, saying, this is my third day of not leaving the house, so I really need to have a conversation with somebody other than the mailman. And that's important and normal. That's normal. I'm very aware that, you know, I wonder if some of the panic and fear and trepidation going into this was the loss of distraction. You know, we didn't have to think about things like, oh God, well, everything really, because we were too busy doing absolutely everything else, right? You know? Whether that was our job or grocery shopping, or, you know, how long will it take me to get here on the tube, or my car needs gas, or, you know, I really have to Hoover today, or learning music, or anything. We had set distractions in our lives. And certainly in that first lockdown, they were all taken away. And all you're left with is yourself. Absolutely. And if you're an artist, you know, it's you and that thing that you do, which then comes back to the question, then why do you do it? What does it do for you? You know, which is important, and a kind of stripping away. And for some people, it was really easy to answer that question. The other question that the one question that tends to send people into a tailspin, is, who are you? Because we don't think about that, because we're distracted by everything else. We don't need to think about that. Besides, somebody will tell you at some point, right? But what about if you've got to answer that question? It's huge.
I love it. I'm going to put that as a hashtag. Distracted by everything else. I love that. I'm writing that down now. Distracted by everything else. Hashtag. Because I think that's quite good. If anybody is listening and you'd like to ask Allyson any questions, or you'd just like to come and say hello, please do. Or even in the replay, just put hashtag replay and your question, and I will get in contact with Allyson and get an answer for you. Very happy to do that, and we'll answer them if we can. That's very open to that. But Allyson, going back to the enormity of now, tell us, what type of guests have you had on the blogs?
Well, it started with nearest and dearest and people that we could manipulate into doing it. And because I'm a pianist, I work with singers, and Gwen is a singer who works with singers. We had some singers. But we have also had, directors, visual artists, radio hosts, actors, producers, dancers, people who are in the arts. I mean, combined with this sudden hole of live performance, it also was the very practical question of finances and financial stability. So how were people living, and what did that mean? And people who had to do a complete 180 and take the job in order to keep the roof over their head. How did that affect them? What was it about? What did it do for their art, or how they thought about their art? Also interesting, with all of these people was an undercurrent of almost politicization in how they approach their art, how they deliver their art, but also with regards to who was supporting and why, right? And why it was important. We do what we do to share. We like the sharing. We like the communion. We like the response. Let's face it, everybody likes to be clapped. But it was about now, what were we sending out to share? Why did we need to share what we're sharing? And why were people responding? And what did it mean? And with all the events of last summer, it became doubly important and immediate and necessary to really think about these things. And I would say that the summer ones were quite important, how people were responding to the events. And now we're hitting another wave with Brexit, and how performers and literal freedom is affected. And again, we have to rethink why we do what we do and how we can continue to do it for that reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I really hear you. I've been going to some talks at Opera UK. And I really had to speak yesterday, is to remind them and others that, yes, please bring things into the fore and come from a place of vision. If you're going to lead something, it means you have to go first. No, it's, I think people forget that, that it's okay if you want to make something really inclusive, but start with a foundation of something. Start with a vision, please.
It's true. And I think, and again, because we don't have the distractions anymore, you kind of have to take a little bit of a risk with that first step.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is scary, and you do need courage. And then once you even come with even that thought process, then people can know how to help you expand that, or share with you in that spirit, or walk alongside you, or join you, or whichever way it comes up,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But we have to, for me, and this is my belief, that we have to make this ownership of being self-led, you know, and being self-led sometimes it's not like what you were saying when you were talking about teaching the kids piano. It's not like, I'm gonna rule the world. You know, self-led, you know, can be the dynamic from making sure, like you also said, which is putting your face mask, your oxygen on first, which is making sure your bills are paid, you're getting out of bed, you're going for a walk, you're eating and sleeping well. To, I'm going to set up this massive organisation that is going to become this massive charity to help loads of thousands of people. But the premise is the same: self-leadership coming from this space. So I really celebrate you in the way that you've kind of explained that, Allyson, because I think we need to hear more of that.
I think if you aren't okay yourself, as I said, you're not going to be that much use to anybody else.
Exactly.
And that's not being selfish. I think that's being careful.
Yes.
I think that's being wise. I think that's being safe. And I think it is important. You can build your sort of multinational corporation in time, but it won't really work if you're falling apart every 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and in that you're talking about consistency, which is another whole other program. Yeah,
I think that's important. The thing about the distractions, I think that, or the lack of, I suspect that it has been very frightening for a lot of people. I think that actually my new theory is that we're now in a period where we don't even have the distraction of lack of distraction. We had all of the first and second lockdown to wax lyrical about the new state of being and staying in our homes and how will I get my groceries and can I go for a walk and I've done my hour and I've done yoga and baked bread and so on. And we had new distractions to cope. And we kind of done it all. And we're still now back with ourselves, actually, which is a huge challenge. And I think in terms of the arts, what is interesting now is that I think people have calmed down a little bit and are figuring out new and different ways to do a different kind of sharing. We still need it. It's the quality of online stuff has gone up hugely. That's good. But we have, I think people have really figured out what it is about themselves and what they do and how to get it out there in whatever form. This stuff, if you know why you do it, it isn't going to stop. It won't die because you just do it. You asked at the beginning why I do what I do. I said it because I can, but I also said because it's like breathing. So I do it, so I will always do it.
Yes. You're speaking the words that I've been speaking the whole time through this this period, this year period. I'm just excited because I love hearing someone else say it.
And I don't know. Having said that, I'm not saying that that's an easy conclusion to get to.
No.
I think, and as I also said, I think I'm able to say these things with a certain ease because I'm not a young lady anymore. So there's been some time and life and experience that has gotten me here. I often say, mostly to my children, just how tired I am. I think what I am actually tired of is the hop, skip, and jumping that I do, or did. And if, as Gwen and I call it in our blog, the magic of the pandemic has offered anything, it has been this time to just sit and calm down and not have my brain fritzing around, not have my body going from pillar to post, and just be okay with that, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think when I'm ready, which may or may not be when the pandemic is over, I might take a couple more years, who knows?
Yeah.
And then I will emerge again and do even more of what I've wanted to do. Yeah. You did say, you know, how did I choose what I do, the paths and so on. And I know it sounds flip. It's because stuff landed in front of me.
Yeah.
And why was I a recitalist? Because people asked me to play, so I played.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, you know, as I get older and more ornery, is if I don't want to, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it doesn't do anything for me, why am I killing myself to make myself unhappy, to bring unhappiness to the whole thing and frustration and so on? Yeah. It's not selfish, it's self-care, I suppose. It's knowing my boundaries, it's being safe, it's knowing that if I'm okay, then whatever I share with you will also be okay. Right? So the saying no isn't sort of, you know, no, it's not today, not for me.
Yeah.
Kind of
yeah. No, I really hear that that genuineness of saying I'm here because I wish to be here. Like I'm turning up because it's important for me to be here. I've actually made a considered choice about why I'm here.
Yeah. I think that, you know, we don't all start out being able to do that.
No, exactly.
But it's kind of nice when you get there.
Yeah.
And maybe it is necessary to do all the other stuff before you get there.
Exactly.
And also, some people get there a little sooner, some people get there a little later. But, you know, we get there.
But I just wanted to quickly talk to you about this thing that you were talking about, this distraction. Because I think it might be important for people to understand that, you know, as well as, because you were saying that you're calmer now being at home in sense of rather than dashing about. But I think there is a mirror of that, of people that used to be calm at home because they knew they had a choice to go out. But now that they don't have a choice to go out, they're having this head stuff which goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And so this is the part where we look at whether the pandemic was there or not. I think this is what more research is being done about now, is that we have social conditioning, we have our own conditioning or our own traumas or our own things that were already sitting in the system. The only thing that the pandemic has done is highlighted what they are.
It's cleared away the distractions.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the things I've recognized very much in myself, but also in my children, who are a rather good barometer for these kinds of things.
Your children are amazing. Like every time I hear about your children, I'm like, oh my gosh, like geniuses.
But it's the lack of choice. You know, as human beings, we've been very at best blessed, and I think at worst spoiled by the amount of choice that we've had. And now we don't have a choice. And what do you do when somebody else takes that away from you? You didn't even decide to not have a choice. Somebody else is telling you didn't have a choice. It's the lack of control, isn't it? That makes people a little crazy. So even if your normal life was staying inside, and going out once a week, now somebody's telling you can't even decide to do that when you want to do that.
Yeah.
Is equal to the person who was always outside and being told that now they have to stay in. And that's a huge learning curve. Yeah. It's not impossible. It's but it's a massive question that we have to deal with.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would say when the pandemic started, and I thought, this is fantastic. I am the world's laziest person. I don't like leaving my house. Now I don't have to leave my house. This is great. I can stay inside. And so, that was fine. And I was fine. But I also had a moment of where I didn't even know why I was sort of vibrating with frustration. And it's because the one time I thought I want to go out and talk to my friends, and so I couldn't. Just that one time.
Yeah.
That's huge. It's a massive learning curve, I think, for all of us. And so if we bring it back to our art and our performing and so on, we have a great idea. We have a concert. We have a recital. We've got a program. I just want to try this out with somebody. And now we can't.
We can, but in different ways.
We can in different ways. Yes. I can't the way I used to do it.
Yes.
And I don't like that because now it's not possible. That's what's frustrating me. I used to do it this way.
Yes.
And I think one of the things I think that also spurred on the creation of this blog was the idea of, we can't do what we used to do. It's like, all right. But when it's all over, we can go back to doing it the way we used to do. And that was the one that used to make my head explode because, why would you do that? Why is that your go-to?
Yeah.
When we can get the 9,000 people back into the house and when we can have this is a huge opportunity to find a new way to meet people in a new place, at a new, in new venues, in new ways to share and communicate.
Yes.
I mean, it's a gift. Sorry, I was about to swear there. It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's placed in front of you. So run with it.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that used to make me just go into a tailspin was when we go back, when it's over and we go back. Don't go back. Nobody goes back. Go forward. Oh my God. What do you think you do when you walk? You go forward. That is insane. I can't bear it. And you can see it does.
It's crazy, David. Rewind.
Go forward. Go forward. Be brave.
Yeah.
Go forward. Look for something new. It's nothing. My father used to always say, just try it. The world's not going to fall off its axis. Keep going.
Yeah. So Bobby is saying, hi, Allyson and Nadine, sending love. Bobby, we're sending you love. Big, 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 big love out to you. So my last question for you today then, my darling, thank you so much for this wonderful
You're very welcome.
We've been having. 3 tips for Let's Get 2021 around music or writing a blog or, anything that of your life experience that you think, I'd love to share with people, like, 3 tips.
Be still just for a moment and be brave while you're being still. It's not easy. Try something new beyond sourdough bread.
Spelt bread. Spelt bread with no yeast, and I make it with sparkling carbonated water instead, and then it makes the bread rise.
Well, then you must share that recipe because that's important. But truly try something new. I mean, I'm flippant about the sourdough bread, but I never used to bake. Weirdly, because I had a fear of flour. I won't go into that now. But I have been true. It's actually true. It's a long story, but it's but here's something. In this space of this pandemic where I'm not going anywhere and I've got nothing to prove and everybody's just letting the world turn, I baked. And I remember saying to one of my sons, oh, now I get why people enjoy doing this. Right? I haven't done the go-to thing of I'm going to learn a new instrument because, I play one already. That's fine. Be brave. Sit still. And I think ultimately take care of yourself. Because once you've done that, you can take care of others.
Lovely. Thank you. That's a really great place to end. I really not even going to say anything on top of that. Morning, Ian Massa Harris. How are you doing? Lovely to see you here. But I am going to end with, where can we find you and the enormity of now?
Everybody must read and enjoy. So we have our blog site, which is www.
If you say it slow, I'll write it in the chat as you're saying it.
Okay, the enormity of now.co.uk.
With that in front of it. With that in front of it.
So www. The enormity of now is one word. .co.uk.
Yeah.
We are on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We welcome all comments. I was going to be brave and say good and bad, but really only good. Please have a read. They are incredibly interesting people. People are interesting. That's what people are interesting beyond their art.
Yes.
And I think that that's important for all of us to see and recognize and appreciate. And in your words, Nadine, celebrate.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. You've been so fantastic today. Oh, my sound's gone a bit funny, but you've been fantastic today. I love what you bring to the table in so many different colours, in so many different ways. And I always think, Allyson, that you are the best kept secret, especially music. I really do, because it's that thing of, once you're inside a project, there is so many different arms to you that can actually really elevate and expand the project. I think it would be, I'm really excited for you in 2021 about what opportunities will fall in your doorstep and what they look like. So thank you so much for taking this morning to be with us all.
Absolutely. Take care.
Right, take care, everybody. Thank you for it. Oh, tomorrow I've got Galia chocolatier. Oh my gosh, she's going to tell some lovely chocolate stories. And I'm looking forward to all of you being here. She might be the morning or the night. I do these at 9 a.m. or 6 p.m. now. It depends on how we're feeling in the day, But thank you all for listening, and take care now. Thank you so much, Allyson.